Well, here it is, typical Tuesday, getting a very late start. Had a doctor's appointment, had to run around, pick up some parts. So, here we are. So that's where we left off last week. This week, we're gonna do this side. I gotta pull this seat out, go hang up those beauty rings. So let's get started with that. You ever watch those videos of those, I'm guessing Afghani, or maybe African mechanics making patch panels with a hammer and a chunk of steel and maybe another chunk of steel and maybe a railroad tie? And I saw one guy today, he was making, you know, the body molding lines with an old exhaust valve. But yeah, you know, I don't have a flanger, so I guess I have to pretend to be Afghani. There we are. All right. About ready to start welding that up. Got it all prepped. One thing I did discover, to my dismay, and I'll have to figure something out. I don't think I could use the Honda seatbelts anyway, but here are the bolt holes for the seatbelt under all this. And then there's the other bolt hole. So what I'm probably going to have to do is old-fashioned, you know, buy the universal seatbelt with the big huge washer and just drill through the floor. I mean, realistically, if I get in a crash hard enough to pull that seatbelt through the floor, but frankly, kill you without a seatbelt. I mean, this car, I don't imagine it's going to hold together in a serious crash anyway. Something to talk about. So, unibody, you know, these later model cars are far more rigid than this car ever was. I mean, look, you cut the rockers off of it, it had zero support. And it's not the rust. You know, we've talked about this before, but I'll say it again. I mean, look, there is zero support there. And that is actually cut from the factory. So, zero support. The rockers were one of the things. Now, the rockers were triple gusseted. So, I mean, they were super strong. But now the convertibles, on the other hand, those things have like 3 different sets of frame rails and they're all double gusseted. Super strong. These cars, nothing. And the roof has very little strength. I know people like to say, oh, the old cars are stronger. No, they weren't. There's very little strength in that. So the Honda, you know, you've got these big thick rockers here, super strong. You got some stringers that come down, those are pretty strong. All this is really strong, but it's also tied to the roof, the Honda roof, that tied it back here and then continued down. So we don't have the Honda roof anymore. So this is not as strong as the Honda stuff was, but the way I've got it all tied together, plus we've got this double walled Rambler rocker welded directly to the Honda rocker. The rockers alone should be strong enough. One of the things early on, I jacked up the one corner, and when I cut the crossbars, they didn't pop. They just cut, and then I took them out, so it didn't twist the body. So anyway, I'm gonna get on that, get that welded. One of these days, I'm gonna make a video about all my experience doing this and some of the things I've learned. But for now, I'm gonna weld that. And there we are. This side came out a little better than the other side. I gotta do some trimming there. Next up, I gotta get those on either side there. I'm gonna go ahead and trim that piece. I'm gonna trim that off. So once I get all this welded, then I'll work on these brackets. Tick tock, tick tock. Okay, that's my stopping point for today. That is ugly. But all this is gonna get smoothed out a little bit, smeared behind a bunch of seam sealer, and then carpeted. I might even go as far as to Bondo this up instead of seam seal it, but it's going to get covered. That had already been cut, unfortunately. So it's going to get covered, and this corner will probably stay open. It's open to here, down in there. So the water goes in here and drains out the bottom. It'll be okay. I just got to make sure it's all tied up pretty good. So tomorrow we'll get on those. I'll have to take a strip on the bottom, a strip on the side, and then I don't know what to do about in here. I think if I just get it welded to that, I think it'll be okay. It's going to be really hard to get in there and weld it. When I pull the quarters off, I should be able to get in there and weld it from the back side. So hopefully I can get that done tomorrow and get started on these gussets. There's one of them right there, but get tied into there. Extra strength, I don't know. We'll see. That's it for tonight. All right, we are at it again. It's Wednesday, about 3 o'clock. A little late, but oh well, that's typical for me. So got those 2 pieces welded in. I need to finish them up like I said last night. Mail call. I got my taillights in. Now, I have always said there are several things about old cars that I don't do. I don't agree with. A lot of people do them. I don't like them, but it's not my car, so I'm not going to say it's wrong. Stuff like having, like this, having big wheels and skinny little tire, or, low profile tires, big fat square wheels on old cars. I don't like it. I like to see a lot of sidewall. That's my preference. In most cases, a lot of cases anyway, I don't like to see tinted windows on old cars. It kind of takes away from the look of it. I mean, obviously they didn't have tinted windows like that in the 50s. They had green, bluish tint to them that you could barely tell the difference. I don't like LED lights on old cars. I don't like, flat, fancy steering wheels on old cars. I don't like a lot of the modern interior in old cars. Although, if you're going to do it all. And in a lot of cases, it does look good. Like I've said before, an old square body Chevy, I'm not a huge fan of. But a lot of these guys are putting these high country interiors in, or old dent side trucks are putting the King Ranch interiors in, and they look awesome, even the dashboards. So, but there's one thing I've always said I did not want to do on this car, and I've seen other people do it. I don't like the look of it. I think it's kind of a cheap way out, is putting trailer semi pop-in lights in place of the factory lights. I've always said I did not want to do it. So this is the factory light. Sits in there. And the lens sticks out a bit. So that's the number one problem. The lens sticks out. It's more prone to getting broke. However, lenses for these are super cheap. And I've even got a pair of, brand new NOS lenses from the 60s that were $20 for the pair. The other big problem was because the Rambler had the brake lights and the turn signals integrated. They both use the same bulb. And then none of these cars back in those days had factory reverse lights. You had to order those as an extra option. In the Rambler's case, it was a beehive light right here next to the taillight. It looked like this. I ordered a set that were just some generic ones, reverse lights for pickups in the 60s, and I don't think they're out here anymore. I think I put them away. But they're way too big. They stick way out, and it would have been okay if it was just the reverse light. But what I was going to do was stick the reverse light, instead of putting it directly in line with the tail light, I was going to put it down here and then put the turn signal up here with an amber bulb in it. And it just looked way too busy back there. I did not like the way it looked. And so I was looking online for some other stuff, and then I came across these. And this is one of the very last things I ever wanted to do to this car. Trailer lights. But they do actually have a version of this that has a reverse light ring in it too, but I didn't like the way it looked. So there's your turn signal, there's your brake and tail. And it will more or less fit in there. And it'll sit in there flat, which I kind of like the flush look better anyway, but it won't get broken off. I think I could probably make it work with the ring. These aren't in great shape. I think I could polish them, but regardless, you know, there's the pop-in grommet, which will work. You know, if I can make this work, that would be awesome. If not, then so be it. Yeah. So I think those are going to be the taillights. Like I said, that's one of the very number one things I said I never wanted to do to this car. The number one thing that I will not do to this car is put a fart can Civic exhaust on it. I may put coilovers on it. I may lower it. I'm going to put the strut tower brace on it. And no, it won't be some boy racer looking thing, but I will not put a fart can Civic exhaust on this thing. As a matter of fact, I want it to sound like an old tractor or like an old flat fender World War II Army Jeep. And here's another thing I got for this car. Trying to keep everything from blowing away in the wind here. I needed to replace the cigarette lighter port. So since I needed to replace it, I got this one. It was cheap. It's got this cool little cover on it. Now, what it does have, that I specifically bought it for, it supposedly has, you can't see anything, a voltmeter in here, and then this cover, you can see through it. So at night, if it's too bright, I can just close the cover. We'll see what it looks like when I hook it up. But it'd be nice to have the voltmeter just to, you know, keep an eye on things. I like to be able to monitor things and see that something's going on. It's saved my butt a few times. I'm not opposed to idiot lights, but as a matter of fact, I like to have both. I can look at the gauge to monitor, and the idiot light will catch my attention when I'm not paying attention. So there's that. Anyway, I'm gonna get started on this for today. I just figured we'd do the mail call, take a look. The taillights I'm gonna put in, but I'm not gonna like film them or put them on the video feed. I'm gonna save them kind of like I did the dashboard for its own little project. That way when the weather's bad or something, I can put out a video on that as a standalone. So we'll do that. I'm gonna have to weld up the hole that's already there just so that the hole saw has something to center to, and then I'll cut the hole. Well, I might even bolt the reflector, the aluminum piece in there first, or screw it in there first. That way the hole gets cut out the same. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, back to work. I went ahead and de-pinned the connector and just plugged it right into that. So there we are. It works. It's got a face on it. It says 12.3. Let's see what happens when it's running. Here we are. So the charging system's working. Let's see what this cover does. Yeah. You can still read through it, but barely. That's good. All right, I'm happy. On to the next job. Okay, so here's this patch. I got these guys in. So I'm gonna put this one in to close it up. That side I didn't have to close it up. I just welded it when it went in. And that'll call these guys done. I'll go ahead and hit the wire brush in there and spray some of that red primer down inside there. Eventually I'll get on smoothing these welds up a little bit. I'm not going to go crazy because again they're going to be underneath a bunch of carpet. So all right, on to the next project. All right, got this modified. I went ahead and welded the upper part of the bracket to the gusset on the Rambler. I put the red primer on it just to keep stuff from rusting. I don't plan on grinding any of those welds anyway. I did go ahead and weld it to the top of the fender, and then this bolts in. I'm not sure why Honda did it that way. I thought about just welding it there and welding it down here and calling it good, but there's a reason they wanted to remove it, I guess. I suppose if I ever want to load something that's too wide back here, I can always unbolt that, take it out. But anyway, there we go. That's the extra strength. I did go ahead and cut that one out. So now I just need to start test fitting it and making sure it's ground enough. And I got to find the other half of it. So on to that. We're starting to run out of time here. I want to have these two done tonight. And then tomorrow, I think I'm going to jump on the... Oops, hit the button. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to jump on the window framing and get that started. Okay, as you can see, it's time to call it a night. Forget it's 8 o'clock right now, so I shouldn't be making too much noise. Anyway, got this all together. One of the main reasons why I went ahead and primered this and not the other stuff is it was actually rusting underneath these bolt heads. So like, this was all assembled when they primed the car. So it's just bare metal underneath there. And if there anything spilled on the seat or condensation, it was starting to rust a little. I mean, nothing heavy at all, just a very light dusting. But still, you know. So I cut this one out to the same as that one, but the gap's a little different there. Not that it really matters, because as long as it wasn't touching, it was okay. If I was going to weld it, it would have been a problem. And this got cut a little differently too, but it doesn't really matter. So that's all together. And I'm calling it a win. So tomorrow I'm going to work on the windshield filler piece. We'll see what the what it ends up being. But that's it for tonight. I'm gonna put away my stuff and go inside. Alright, I got this all sanded with the belt sander. As you can tell, the wind's picking up. And I got this cut out in the 1-inch hose. This cowl drain. And over there, I got that one done, but I had to go around the outside of the pipe. Hopefully that won't interfere with the dashboard. There's not enough room to go around the back. Possibly if I unbolted it and pushed it out, routed it that way, then pushed it back in, I don't know, it might squeeze it off. So we'll see. All right, got that welded in. I may have to put some relief cuts in it though. It's pretty tight. I'm trying to get it to match this curve, and a bit more than a bit wavy, I guess. It might still work just fine. Who knows? I don't want to pull the glass out of that car until I'm ready pretty much to put it in, because I don't want to have to deal with it getting broken. It's $1,500 windshield. So there's that. I'm gonna get the top part measured and get it cut out and prepped. We'll see how much farther I get running out of steam here, guys. And this thing's got to go back in tonight. I got work tomorrow, so didn't get on the wiper motor, but that's all right. So this and the wiper motor, I think, are about all to finish for the most part on square 2. And then we'll jump on square 3. All right. Okay, here we are, another sundown Thursday evening. So I got this tacked. It's real wavy. Bottom's still really wavy too, and it's welded. Those are gonna have to be welded flat because the edge of the glass actually sits right there. Where here on the back, the edge of the glass sits about 1/4 inch inside of it, so that wasn't really critical. I probably could have glued it in without adding any metal to it, but there wouldn't have been 1/8 of an inch all the way around. So I got this piece in. It's welded. I did not weld it to the top and the bottom yet because I don't have those set at the angles they need to be at yet. That one's probably as close to correct as possible. Now, the problem, that is not 14 inches of metal. I'm about 6 inches too short. Giggity. 4 inches too short. Somewhere though, I've got a piece left over from the back that was all stripped. It might be in here somewhere, or it might be over there in the metal pile. I don't know, but I gotta find it and add it to that and put it in there. It doesn't really matter. I mean, the welds are gonna get ground flat. It's gonna be underneath a bunch of urethane window weld anyway, so you know. All right, but that's a night. I'm jazzed. I'm friggin' exhausted, but I'm jazzed because I think I got a lot done. We got this. Another job I've been dreading and putting off. I got the drain hoses put in. See, I got these done. I haven't test fit the back seat yet, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna go. So what I didn't do yet that I was hoping I had time to work on is the wiper motor, but we'll finish up the windshield opening. Once that's done, then I think I can move on to that job, the wiper motor job, and then move on to box 3 back here. And we got the mess, quite the mess back here. I gotta figure out how to join all that. Won't be a big deal. I'm going to definitely do the bottom first from the bottom side, and then for the top side I'll probably just come off of here and then bring it in at an angle. I did pull these bolts out, but this is all welded in, so I don't even know why the hell those bolts are there, to be honest with you. Hopefully though I can pull that lower panel off, because that'll make it a lot easier. I wanted to pull the upper panel off to fix this damage, and especially this damage, but you can see it's all welded. So, oh well. All right, I'm gonna put the seat back in, put the steering wheel back on, which is not really a job. I gotta put away my welder. There we are. I took all that out so that the spatter wouldn't get on it, and I had the column covered, and I had the parking brake handle and the shifter handle covered. I need to look into, there's a module right there. You see the yellow plug down there? That's the airbag module. I want to see about removing that because we don't need it anymore. Anyway, I'm going to pick up and go in. That's it for this video. You guys should be seeing that probably later tonight. Enjoy, like, subscribe, watch the videos. I am that close to being monetized. And when I say monetized, we're talking like maybe $50, $100 a month. Not a lot. But then YouTube starts promoting the channel, starts, you know, pushing it, start showing it, and then it blows up, takes off, and I become like Puddin' and Vice Grip Garage and Mortsky and all those guys, which I don't necessarily want to be that big, but I would like for this channel to be monetized enough to pay for these projects, so that way I don't have to spend money from the household on the projects, you know, because money's tight. Anyway, that's it. Enjoy. Thank you.